And it looks like we got it the right way.
So instead of
Alright, leave comments if we're the right way. If not, I can.
we can fix it. It's early enough. But yeah, welcome back to the Atkins Rotary channel.
Alright, so Jade Drift says beginner here.
Okay.
So let us know if we're the right way or not the right way. So if you're here,
Well, first things first, you want to have everything laid out. In my case, I have it right here on the engine stand, ready to go. Your water seals that I use, I tend to hang them off the side of the engine stand. Same thing with the front cover gasket.
let me move it back so we can actually get everything.
Yeah, you don't need that. That one's off the passcode next week. But let's start with putting in water seals, the front gear. I put new bearings in this engine all the way around. So that's ready to go. This is just a stock build, nothing fancy. But yeah, have any questions, ask away. I don't mind. Worst case is Brennan there behind the camera can't read it all fast enough.
Well, hopefully when they ask questions, I have my phone up. So if I don't get the comments on this phone, I'll have comments on my phone that I will be reading off of.
Okay. Well, we'll start with gears in. Your front spacer is directional. In this case, bevel down. Your bearing don't matter what orientation it is. Same thing with this plate, it won't matter.
Okay, so Thomas asks, yes, Dan, love it, thanks, man, super generous. And then Richard, let us know if you deviate from Mazda recommendations.
Not really. Don't matter whatever you're building. That's at least always a guide to start with.
Trying to get the angle right.
I know your books say that these are supposed to be torqued down to a certain point. I don't remember. I've never had one come out.
Your mom says that you need to speak.
Mom says I need to speak.
Just
Well, I'm gonna bring the camera over here or phone.
Alright, so I got the volume up louder. So hopefully that works and you guys can hear us.
Here's one of the housings we're going to use. It's a used one with in good enough shape. We use Hylamar. Vaseline will make the water jacket seals swell up. And that's for a bad day.
So you might have to speak up a little bit, Dan.
Oh, I'm a little.
You're still a little quiet.
I'm not used to yelling.
Well, because Thomas said can't hear Dan really, and I got the volume turned all the way up.
But yeah, definitely don't want to use Hylam. Don't want to use Vaseline to hold water seals in.
Let me see if I can't move over here. Okay, maybe we'll just move the camera the best that we can to get it to where.
Mom's saying I need to. Okay.
And then Thomas said can't really hear Dan. And then can we get a mic closer to Dan? Well, we don't have mics, so hopefully with sitting right here, we might be able to pick them up a little bit better.
On. Boy, the Hylamar is going all over the place today. Here we go. The Hylamar might be a little messy, but that is okay.
You guys are welcome on moving stuff closer. And Dan Sawfish says, "Hey Daniel, putting it together nice."
Oh, we just started. On your water seals, as you're putting them in, make sure that they don't twist. So when you, for example, like on this one, when you put it in, that's how you should be seeing this side all the way around. If it's twisted, that's not going to seal. And yeah, that makes that gets interesting when you put it in the car. Then you got to take it back out because you got to find a coolant leak. But here's how your water seals should be sitting. They're nice and flat. They're not twisted. And one of the things I do is when I'm done, I'll take both of my hands and I'll start on a point and run my fingers all the way around it. And if it's twisted, your eyes might not see it, but your fingers will see it or feel it. So
I'm gonna put it right there for right now.
that works.
So then that way.
I still have the other side to do. This is just the front side of the housings.
Well, at least that way they can actually see
what you're doing.
well, not what I'm doing, what you're doing. I get a front row seat, so
On your dowel pins, make sure they're clean inside, because that will. You have two of them running oil. And the other two, they're down below, just as dowel pins. So. What I use to clean them out is a rifle brush or a bore brush and a little bit of solvent, carburetor cleaner, brake cleaner. To polish them up just a little, Scotch-Brite works.
all right. So when you put this in,
Easy.
we're gonna get close up and put it in.
Oh, there you go. There's that one, and then here's the ones that we make. And then it just sits right in place. Yep. Yeah, we use Hylamar to hold the seals in place so they're not going all over as you're moving it around from here to there.
All right. So is that close enough when he seals it or puts them in?
You don't need a whole lot. You just need enough to hold it in place.
So Richard Tate says there are markings on water seals. Does it matter where they go in the housing groove?
No, because they're different sizes. On the factory water seal, this one, here we go. On the factory water seal, it's like multiple pieces put together. Here we go. Like this one here. This part of the puzzle piece, you'd want to put towards the top, which is going to be your coldest part of the block. And even Mazda's recommended that all the way back to the 60s, early 70s. The rotors we're going to put in are the same ones that we packed last week.
All right, so Dan's sawfish. So are you only? So you use only two of the triangle things that you did last live in that engine?
Yeah, that's all this one will take. There's just two rotors. And this water seal is not cooperating with me. There. That one sat in there. Yeah, no, this one's just a stock 2-rotor. Nothing fancy. Don't forget your outer water seal. There. That one's ready. Every engine's different from the next. Even your V8 guys will tell you the same thing. You might get one that's standard built.
And then Cliff Gonzalez says, thanks for the tutorial.
Oh, you're welcome. We build a lot of engines. But no, this is just how we do it. I'm sure there's others out there that do it different. That's fine.
So how come you only put that stuff on one side?
Because those two legs right there don't have a sealing surface. It's just metal to metal. So, and on your 93 and newer housings, there's a little channel here for silicone. So you can, it's got a place to go. Your older stuff doesn't have that.
Now, what year is this? RX8 is this going in?
04.
04?
Yep.
And then...
Up to 08.
So Richard asked, is that Permatex?
Yeah. Just standard silicone, nothing fancy. We use Vaseline to, one, it's sticky, it's cheap. And yeah, you can get it like anywhere. Grocery store, convenience store, wherever. Dad's been using this stuff since, I don't know, early 80s to put engines together with. Last time you get to see those. So make sure they're still there.
And Thomas said, thanks for all you do. Produce... Hold on, now I gotta get my phone. Produce and sell to the Rotary community all these years. These tutorials keep us loyal customers coming back. Keep up all the great work and making all the great reproductions.
Thank you.
You want me to grab something?
Oh,
Instead of sitting here looking behind the camera?
I got something for you here in about another minute.
And then Thomas also said that Mazda stopped making. You didn't leave us hanging.
Yeah. Well, Mazda quit making rotary cars in 2012. They've been teasing about it since then. Of another one. When you put your apex seals in, you want to make sure that everything aligns. Here's the seals that we make. We'll put these in today.
Let's get it closer up of.
Look how small those are. On your apex seals, let's pull that out for real quick. You do want to make sure that your corner seals and springs are in place, because if they don't, it's not going in, and it needs to free float. If they're not free floating, why? I had a rotor last week that I put together, and there was just a little tiny nick right here somewhere from when it was getting cleaned. It wasn't allowing it to free float like it was supposed to. There we go. So, gotta make sure everything free floats. This is the front rotor. Yeah, see, look, it's not going down. Now,
Look at that, we got it right this week.
but all of your rotor seals all have to free float. If you have one that's sticky, you're not going to have a very good compression reading.
Alright, so Cliff asked, hey Dan, what fuel pump do you recommend for a Weber 45?
Stock. Your stock fuel pump. Yeah, the stock fuel pump will work just fine. Carburetor, you don't want it more than, is it 5 pounds of fuel pressure? There we go.
Oh, that one came out. Does that happen often?
Oh yeah. It happens. This is where you add Vaseline or something sticky that'll burn off and go away. Of course, it fell out anyway. We'll fix that.
Delivery Brian's here. Hey, who's that guy?
He just got home from work.
Which one? The one in front of the camera or the one behind the camera?
Hopefully work for him wasn't too hard today.
Yeah, he ended up meeting me down at Atkins yesterday.
Yeah. Okay. Your rotor seals are in place. Make sure you got enough.
So he said the one in front of the camera, which would be you.
Make sure everything is still there.
Others have put rotary housing and put apex seals after. Does it matter?
No. This is just how Dad taught me to do it. I've even seen guys use the old water seals with like rubber bands and put them in. I've done it that way too. And you can teeth to line up. There. That's sitting where it needs to be.
Now I gotta sit here and play Jenga, Tetris, and see. Hey, Brian.
I should have taken these out before.
It's going. It's just sitting here helping down with the live and.
Now, what I'm pushing on here are the springs to push them down internal.
And Killstone says, or Jake says, "Damn, I'm late to the class." You're not late. We're just,
We're just getting started. We're only, what, 10 minutes in?
28.
Oh, that late already?
Yeah, we've already been at it for almost 30 minutes.
So here's a spot where you take a small screwdriver and you're pushing your apex seal tip, your apex seal springs down. You want to make sure the apex seal tip gets behind the spring, or, well, in front of it. Your apex seal spring needs to sit. Here, let's go like this. Use the seal. Needs to sit just like that. You can put the little apex seal tip. You can put it in a spot where your spring is right here, and then of course when you bend everything, tension everything down, you'll have a low compression problem, and you won't know why until you take it apart. I've done that once.
I'm not surprised.
Well, go ask your top engine builders on YouTube. For those that are giving you instructions for V8s, well, they'll tell you, been there, done that. In this case, I'm going to take the apex seal tip and bury it in Vaseline.
So Brian says, wait until spring to install those springs with a laughing face.
Okay. There's those. There's those. The shaft we'll put into it today. In this case, all of our tips popped up a little. That's okay. So push them back in.
And then Richard, I have had side seals come out. Any common errors that cause that?
As you're putting it together, not enough something that's sticky. So not enough Vaseline. Here's the front face. Mainly when you're measuring these, you're measuring this step where here. If I remember, I think the Mazda number is 4 thousandths.
All right,
These
so
are just under 1.
So Tristan asked, are you putting the corner pieces of the apex seal on the top or bottom? And then, so I'll let you answer that question before I read the next one.
In this case, they're going in on top, facing the back of the engine.
And then Richard, when starting engine for the first time,
Fill it with oil, fill it with coolant, start it off. If it's gonna, when we get to the oil pump, I'll show you how that's all put together. I tend to leave it. But if something happened during assembly, you'll usually know about it in the first couple of minutes.
And they said side seals come out of back rotor.
How'd they come out?
We'll have to wait until he responds of how they came out.
Well, you got a job to do.
Now we walk around.
Now you know it's 2025.
Let me cover up the electrical breathing.
You know it's 2025. This engine builder needs someone to hold the shaft.
That could go so wrong.
I'll have you come over here on this side. So in this case,
I have to hold it from bottom to top.
on the bottom. Okay. You want to go up a little bit more on that.
I'll get.
Perfect. That's the end of that.
So is it alright? Is it sit like that?
Yep.
All right.
There we go. It's already making compression. You can hear it.
Is that what that noise?
Uh-huh.
So I'll I'll stand over here and I'll just read the comments, and that way you can even jump in. My side seals on front. Side seals on front of back rotor came out upon initial start. Any errors caused that?
There's really not a way for side, unless they fell out as you were putting them in. I had that happen once. That makes a sound you'd never forget it.
Now the guy behind the camera, are you the one with the beautiful huge fur logs? The wood yard? That down goes to, so no, that's actually a different guy that Daniel works with, or not works with, but got in contact with somehow. And then not last year, it was the year before that we actually met, right?
Yeah, it was a non-automotive event, which wasn't looking for another friend.
It wasn't looking, and look what happened.
I got you on camera holding the shaft. That could be, yeah. I've been thinking of that one off and on all week.
You know, it's kind of weird how
we have fun with it here.
You know, it's kind of weird that, you know, you go to a chainsaw gathering and end up meeting people, and then you end up becoming best friends or really good friends. Then that really good friend ends up turning around and helping you with rotaries. Actually, I'm just here for.
Yeah, and it was fun too, because at that event, I had a guy show up out of Montana
with rotary engine parts.
Yeah, all in the back of his van. He just needed someone to look it over. I think he drove 6 hours to get there.
So he must.
Yeah, he drove something like 6 or 5.5 to 6 hours, just for me to look over his parts. And I had an idea by Monday what he needed.
Alright, so Richard, what is the break-in period for a rebuild engine? What limits should one use? Speed or RPMs?
RPM, you want to keep it under 5,000 RPM for the first 1,000, and then slowly increase it after that.
And then Killstone asked, are the side seals you sew cut to fit, or are they pre-cut?
No, they're cut to fit. Nope, they're all cut to fit. It makes it easier in the long run. There we go. Yeah, I'm surprised the host at that event didn't have a problem with me doing that.
Taz?
Yeah. And it's something I don't do very often. But in his case, to drive, I think he was central Montana.
Yeah, well, it's not just west of Kalispell, because.
But.
Or didn't he come from Missoula?
Something like that. but it would have taken him 12 hours just to get here, just to have me look over his parts for 10 minutes and then go home. Okay, same thing here. Look over all your parts. They're still there. And slide it all in.
Grabbing that. So he was just doing the same thing that he was doing before of
Yeah, when you put the rear one in, you're basically doing the same thing you just did on the front. The only difference is you're putting you're just swapping gears around, but you'll be doing that as you're packing the rotors anyway. So
you gotta show us what Dan is doing, please. And what do you recommend for seal tolerance?
for what? Which seal?
You want me to put the camera over here?
No, you bring it right here. I'll show you what I'm doing. If you look right here, you got your apex seal spring. I'm gonna push it down just a little, and then take your apex seal tip and push it into place.
And then the other question is, do they still make rotary engines in new cars?
Mazda's supposedly working on one, but don't know until they're done with, till it's on production, on the production line. Okay, now the rear iron. All of your parts laying out. We've got the rear oil pressure regulator. Oh, what size is that?
Alright, so hold on a second. There was another question. Then another side seal tolerance, and then what do you look for with corner seals? Determine which colored dot you're using between white and pink.
For corner seals, there's no difference. They're all pink. If you go with new.
And do you sew apex seals with the triangle glued on?
No. Well, the Mazda ones come pre-glued. The ones you get from me are not glued. There, that is not moving. Let's see. I don't need that anymore. But this is how we do it.
Do you need more?
No.
Killstone says you're running out of lube, dude. Sounds like a personal issue.
It's oh, that topic alone can get interesting when you're buying the stuff 3-4 bottles at a time. leave that one to my parents.
Is it important to keep lube away from where water seals touch?
When you're using Vaseline, yeah, because you don't want the seals to get attacked. But once you have it all put together, it won't matter, because everything's already, no, it can't go anywhere. It's already, even before you tension it down, those seals can't move. We do this, and that way, as we're tensioning it down, your bolt seals have something to slide on.
Are we done over here?
For now. But that's your tension bolt washer. It's got like a rubber O-ring or seal glued into it.
And then with the corner seals, 2 sizes from OEM on an RX8.
There's only one size of corner seal on an RX8.
And they said white being N3H11, 1111, or C2 XE, and pink being 3 or N3H 111111 C20.
Well, you can't get the white ones. You haven't been able to get those since like 05. So, good luck on that. The only ones you can get right now are the pink ones. And then same thing with tension bolts. Little WD-40. In this case, I'm using MP.
And then we got asked how long those bolts are, or what size.
They're just stock bolts.
How many long bolts are there?
18.
I got the question wrong. This appeared in my
Tension
phone.
bolts, there's 18. You definitely don't want to let them drop. You want to somewhat protect the threads a little.
I was just going to ask if there's a specific order you want to put those in.
Only on 3 of them. In this case, that one's going to be too long for the top 2.
Well, somebody just said, or Killstone said there's 2 than the rest. There's 2 longer than the rest. Or
yep, on the RX8, you have your 2 longer ones here. You got another one over here. Been there since the 60s.
and then
We try to make the that one outside here look nicer.
And then do you lube the end of the bolts?
Yeah, just a little WD-40 or whatever oil spray you want to use. That's all we've ever used. Plus it keeps the bolts from, as you're tensioning it down, it keeps the bolts from squeaking.
So then when you're tightening them down, do you do like you're changing a tire? You'll,
Oh, in the star pattern, yes. Oh, there's your extra long one right there. You had that right a couple days ago. Oh well.
well, thanks for reminding the thumbs up. And the white dot corner seals are still produced. I have some from order on the 2025 or 1/13/2025, and then Jason's here too. And Jason says, "Hey, that rotary engine looks very familiar. How are you guys coming along with that?"
Only a couple minutes from a compression test. When he was in high school, he was working for my parents, taking these apart and cleaning. So he never got to do an RX8.
Because back when you guys were in high school, heck, maybe I don't think the RX8s came out until after I. No, they came out before I graduated.
Yeah, when I was in high school, it was late 90s.
When the RX8s came out?
Oh, it was in 04.
Yeah, because I was a freshman when the RX8s came out.
Yeah. Nope, I had RX7s at the time. I didn't have RX8s. They were too expensive when I was 24. And then we'll do first round of torquing at 20. Yeah, Jason's RX7 was an interesting one. I knew his dad was a police officer, and I found him a used engine. Never dealt with the guy before, and as soon as that guy left, I get a phone call from his dad going, "Never send that guy to my house again." Okay.
Which guy was that?
The guy that had the used engine for Jason's car. It's pretty bad when you send and I didn't send it to him. I gave the guy's number to Jason and his dad, but you set off enough spidey senses and a police officer at his house. Whoops.
So
that was an interesting one.
So your mom answered the question. Because one person after Jason was like, "Are you using pre-cut side seals?" And then your mom, no, those were covered in the how to build the rotary. We like the ones you can cut.
I covered that last week on the last live.
Well, I was from 13 Brep. I don't think he was here. I don't remember seeing him last.
Oh, that's okay. I can always do a short video on how to do those. It's not hard. Here we go. And then you torque it down again at 29.
What is the torque now?
29. When you're done, when I'm done, I go back around in case I missed one. Like that one. Check that one and check this one again. That's all done.
And my phone's right over there if you decide to pop over and look at comments.
Put the rear gear in. Let's spin it by hand.
You know, you got somebody over here that's just standing around. You can.
Oh. Yeah. It's not hard. I guess to answer someone's question, do we do something that's outside the Mazda books? I guess this spot would be one of them. We do put a little bit of silicone around. This what this does is it helps seal this O-ring in place. I'm sure Mom and Dad could tell a story of how they had this oil leak pop up in the early 80s. And then after that it was never again.
And then you also, if you're building a motor, should we take the stationary gear off, or can they be left on the iron?
You can leave it. I would take it off to make sure everything's nice and clean. Makes it easier to change the bearing if you need to. Plus, when you go back into the car with it, you want to at least replace the O-ring. Nothing like putting an engine back into a car. Then you have nothing like having a $10 O-ring. Make you drop the transmission or pull the engine back out. Especially when you were there. There it is. Of course, you want to start all your bolts by hand. I met Jason at church in the early 90s. sure everything's tight.
And then Dan's Sawfish. So how many rotary car or trucks has Daniel owned?
RX3, 3.7s, the 2200, about 6 or 7.
Then you still have one.
Yeah. I still have one. I haven't driven it since '04. I needed a truck at the time, so I built that one. And then, after that was totaled, the kiddos came along. So, yeah, the last time I daily drove a rotary was for 2007, January of '07. It turns over by hand.
I was gonna say it sounds like it's got compression.
Uh-huh. Every builder turns their engines over by hand. Nothing like sending an engine out. Here you go, fire it off, and it don't move.
Mazda recommends the engine bolts can be torqued up to 38 foot-pounds. Does that matter?
I stop at 30. I guess you could go further if you wanted. But all the books I've ever read, it was up to 30.
So what does that do?
That's my ground wire.
Oh, that's the ground wire?
Yep. We're gonna make this spin with the starter and get you some compression numbers. Before it leaves, I want numbers.
Do they have oil pans?
No, you swap your own over. They sit easier without a pan.
Do you need me to do anything?
No.
So I want to step over on the other side of the camera, so if I'm delayed on reading the comments, I'm sorry. I kind of want to see how...
Okay, it's gonna get noisy.
So how do you get the compression numbers?
Your tester. We've got a Mazda compression tester that we use. We'll start with the front one.
And then somebody asked, do you...
About what?
do you know the part number of the side seal you're using to cut the size? And then your mom says show the slotting scale.
Oh, that's on the back of this.
And then
And I will.
Killstone says, "Oh man, you're shooting lube,
Vaseline.
shooting lube everywhere."
I'll leave that alone.
Getting a little excited there.
We're not in that certain part of town.
We're not in Union Club.
Okay.
And only the locals will get that joke.
Oh, this one don't have a scale on the back. It used to. It'll be in the book though.
So you want me to show the book, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, what part of the book is it going to be in?
That's a good question. I haven't opened that book. I don't know. I don't know the last time I opened up that specific book. I think I was in my 20s.
Yeah, it's some of the.
I'm in my mid 40s.
Yeah, we definitely don't need.
I might have it right here on the. It tells you how to hook it up.
Well, I don't speak. I don't speak Canadian.
Japanese.
Chinese, Japanese.
I googled the scale. Probably about a month ago. Because this is going to be done in it's in kPa for your compression scale. That's
Right.
kilo. Oh.
So while you're looking, somebody or Killstone, will you be showing how to set end play today?
Yes.
And then Richard asked, where do you get bell housings like that?
This one's off an old RX3. So, off an no, this is an automatic 83 RX7. You can use any bell housing as long as you've got the right starter to flywheel or flex plate combination. I think there's a shop I dealt with. He used an 86 bell housing in a starter.
And then here's a name that you'll recognize. Outdoors with Shine.
Oh. I got my Coke. I haven't opened yet.
Outdoors with Shine says, "Hey guys, what's up?"
Hi, Shibe. Okay.
So do you want me to hold on to anything?
Yeah, hold on to that. This will be the
Yeah.
front.
So if you guys can see, comment if you guys can see that. If not, I'll try to figure it out. If not,
Ready?
we'll do, yep.
Here we go. Let's do it again. Plugged in. So at 211 RPM, that's too low. We've got one corner seal sticking. If this is closer to mid 8s, then we're okay.
So now what do we have to do?
Let's do it again.
And then Jason, I did a couple engines swaps with Dan, and one on my own 12A 13B.
I helped him over the phone with it. Okay, let's do it again. Well, according to Mazda numbers, if you can get, so I'm going to leave this alone. This is fine. But if you can get the RPMs up a little higher, these three numbers change. And it'll be low 9s. If you can get these numbers all be 10s, that's pretty much a brand new engine. I'm going to argue for used rotor housings, new side seals, new apex seals. That front one is dead on.
So, here, oops, because they're asking for closer.
But yeah, if you can get those numbers closer to 10, you're dead on.
So that's what we, if you guys can see that, that's what we got on the compression test.
For the front.
For the front. So are we doing the rears?
Yep, we're going to go over here now.
Okay, so I'm going to put the camera here so they can hopefully see it a little bit better.
Where's my reset button? No, don't push the reset button.
I'm not touching anything until I get told to.
We'll write that down now.
And yes, Shive, we're doing a compression test.
We're putting one spark plug in the front, and the top spark plug stays in. We're getting the numbers off the bottom, since these engines have 4 spark plugs.
They have 4.
Yeah, we have a leading and trailing. One basically does all the work, and the other one's kind of like your afterburn. And with your intakes wide open, you'll be getting some good numbers. Even on a piston car, you want your intake to be wide open when you do a compression test. Because if not, that changes.
Alright, so Richard, is that close enough?
Oh, I have seen those numbers up to 13 at one point.
Is that good or bad?
Well, 10's considered new. That was an interesting argument on the forums back in the early 2000s. And one guy told me he couldn't do it. Okay. I did it. He didn't like that.
That's kind of a try me and I'll figure it out.
Well, I knew how to do it. But his argument was he's never seen that on a Mazda gauge. I told him I have. So the next engine I built, I did it.
So what's that one that you're loosening up right now?
I'm tightening up the top spark plug.
So then we got 2 more on the bottom?
Nope, they're both out of the front.
Well, down that bottom right down here.
Yeah. No, that's the 2 we just did.
That's the 2 that we just did?
Uh-huh.
The sensors go in the leading plug hole.
Yes. Your trailing is what you leave your spark plug in.
And then are we still going to show the
rear?
show the your mom asked the sliding scale or
the sliding scale isn't on this one. I think I have
slotting.
I think I have that one right there
The
on the wall.
your mom's comment.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because that scale there, right there on the wall, right there behind those gaskets, that converts it from the kph scale to the PSI scale.
And then 85 RX. Do you recommend using a thermal pellet plug for an 88 turbo engine? How many miles does a stock thermal pellet usually go before running into issues?
Your stock thermal pellet will start to quit at about 130,000. There's your here's your scale. We were getting 7s and high 8s at 226 RPM. So this only does, it doesn't convert it to PSI. There's a way you can do that though. I did it on my phone about a month ago.
Is your phone in your pocket?
Oh, I want my I don't know where my build book went. So we got front. What's the numbers? We got 8.6, 7.8, 8.2 at 226. Also that in the where's your build book? Okay.
My Killstone said it comes to about 130 psi.
Okay. So we'll clear that. Let's do it again. Ready?
Okay, let's get the numbers. All right, can you guys see that a little bit better?
That's not bad.
Oh, because we were at what, 226 on the other one?
Yeah.
We're at 237 on
And
this
we're pretty
one.
much the same numbers.
Except for the middle ones. Yeah, only by 1.1.
If I reset that, it'll reset itself. So that center number might be on the top or bottom.
Because that one's 7.8 on the middle.
And this is the rear numbers.
Yeah, because we got 7.8 there, and 7.9 there, and then 8.2 there and 8.8 there. But the top number's the same.
Yeah. And everything was free floating like it was supposed to. Oh, I should write that down. 8.6, 7.9, 8.8 at 237. Well, that's the end of that. We're all done there.
how does this get folded up?
Oh, I just wrap it around. Yeah. Not bad for a compression tester that's probably
Older than me.
30 years old.
Yeah, not quite old.
30, 40. I think Mazda started that tool back in the mid 70s. So
Amazon.
oh, is this where you tell her you have to go back to about the half-hour mark? You can show her that one when you get home.
So Killstone says 7.8 kPa comes to 112 psi, and then Emily says, "Hey, hi, hey from me," and no, from her and Waylon, and then Jason's what? No vroom vroom sound.
Oh, we did that before you showed up.
Hey, you're a day late, dollar short to the party there, Jason.
Hi, Emily. At least you know he's here.
I'm actually in front of the camera now helping out instead of behind the camera.
So now we'll do a coolant pressure test.
So is that a different machine, or how do we do that?
That little box right there with the gauge and plate on it. Here, those go in the compression tester box. I need 14. Where did I put it? Oh, you need 14. I think it's right there next to your phone.
Fourteen's right there.
Yep.
It wasn't snowing when I showed up.
Oh. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, here in the Pacific Northwest, we got our first dusting of snow this weekend. So, we're getting caught up to you guys in the Midwest and East Coast.
And right now we don't have any windows, so we can't see if it's. As I walk to the front real quick, and then Tampa, Florida said,
Snow? What snow?
no.
I don't know what that last word is.
Looks like
It's Spanish. I think. But, hello.
it stopped snowing here,
Oh, camera moved.
but it all looks good from here. It stopped snowing here, but lasted about an hour.
About what it was this morning when I got up.
Like I even woke up and looked out the window to see if we had any snow on the ground. So I was expecting a whole bunch of snow, but
I'll set that under there,
under
under the cart.
maybe without hitting anything.
Oh.
Okay, I don't know if
That's fine. Oh, here, you want to set that on top of it? We're done there. Then here's how we pressure test the cooling system. Make sure all of your water jacket seals are where they're supposed to be. I wouldn't know anything about one moving.
Was it still snowing at home? And we got no snow yet on Whidbey Island. And I was coming from Dan's Sawfish.
Yep, that's about where he's at.
And
I
then,
think he's on the south end of the island.
85 RX. Do you know if there are many rotaries near Boise, Idaho? I'm moving there this summer.
There's a few. I need a 12. Oh, here it is. Get a hold of my mom on Facebook, Kathy Atkins, and she can recommend a couple of groups. That I know she's part of. And then we need a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver.
Flathead screwdriver?
Yep.
Doesn't matter size?
No.
He said sounds great, I'll get a hold of her.
I know there's a couple. I'm not on Facebook, so I have no idea. I just know they're there. I'm probably the one guy that's not on Facebook, and I don't want to be.
I don't blame you.
I'm busy enough. Okay. So your two water ports are blocked off. We make this block here. Just uses a stock gasket. And ooh, we can go up to 80.
Oh boy.
We'll stop at 20. Your average cooling system can't handle it. Your average cooling system only handles up to 14, 15. But I don't hear anything leaking. So while that's doing its thing.
Oh. Right here.
Yeah, out of the rubber plug though. It's not like it's coming out of the block. Oh, that just wrecks your day. Because now you got to figure out where.
I think it's coming out of it. Yeah, it's coming out of this one.
Yeah. No, if you have a water seal that's pinched or rolled as you were putting it all together, you would hear it. It's
a very distinct.
It's a very distinctive sound. It's like asking a math teacher to just do a math problem wrong to show you where you screwed up. He can't do it.
So Jason,
he can do it, but he can't do it. If that makes sense.
So Jason asked, "Is that low or high compression?"
This is a high compression ratio engine. Well, that's setting. Let's put the front cover together.
Alright, so time to switch the camera back around.
So in our case, when we clean everything, we take the whole front cover apart. Your oil metering shaft is taken out. all apart. The RX8s, you've got an oil passage in here with a plate, so we take it off. Your front oil regulator all comes out. And that's how we do it. But there's your front cover shaft. We use a little bit of Vaseline for kind of like a pre-lube. I do need a Phillips coming up. On your oil metering pump shaft, you do have a little keyway holding on the front gear. Yep. So we'll put this all back together. And you have two keys or clips.
And Jason said, I missed it when you said the compression was at 20 psi.
I've never built an engine that low. Okay. This is just a gasket dressing sealer that we use. Helps hold the gaskets in place. And boy, does it glue it down.
So we're a little over an hour and a half.
That's not bad. Somebody did ask me before we started how long it would take. About 2 hours.
So Matthew Arth says ROT. I don't know what ROT or ROT.
So
And RI 46D9 mattering shaft premix. I have been away from YouTube for a while. When do you start doing live?
this is the second live we've done. Figured it'd be something fun and different for you guys to watch. And ask questions as I go.
And your mom said the 20 psi is water jacked seal test.
Oh, I heard compression.
I think she's answering Jason's comment.
Where is my... I don't have that. Everything should just go in nice and smooth. Oh, I need a 20. I got a 21. Oh, I need 23.
Three.
Yep. isn't standard.
Is that going to be big enough? That's a 15/16.
I think that's it. Yep. Alright, that part's done.
So you might be able to read this comment a little bit better. And what are your thoughts on the SOHN adapter?
The Sean adapter.
Yeah, between the block and the OMP.
I don't see a point. Your electronics are still going to tell you how much oil is getting into that engine. Run clean oil, keep up on your oil changes, and you'll be fine. Let's see. We're still at just below 20. It hasn't moved.
I'm not seeing Dan do a compression test or water test in a long time. It's been years. It's been years for me.
Oh, was that from Jason?
Yeah, that was from Jason. Hey, don't worry. I haven't either. This is the first time, and I'm seeing it in person. I get a front row seat.
Okay, so that's done. That passed.
I'm just happy that we got it done the right way this time instead of last week where we were on the struggle bus with it.
Well, your rotors are always, even your RX7s, if you don't know what you're, I don't want to say it's not what you're doing. If you've never done it before, it's always the hardest.
Everyone,
Yeah, you can sit there right there. For me, in my case, I've had some pretty good. I've had a pretty good mentor in the background pushing me to build these engines. You need a spacer. Okay. Now, here's where your in-play gets a little tricky. If you're not careful,
well, Jason, it's fun doing the engine build, but it's even better get into the car to make it run.
okay. Good. Your in-play. Okay, we got the first spacer in, this one here. Bevel goes down. And you've got your first thrust washer, your plate. You got another thrust washer. And here's where most people mess it up. With this plate off, this is what you're seeing. You need to make sure that this here is centered. So that way, when the spacer goes down onto the shaft, it sits in place. If you don't, and it gets crushed, when you put it all together, you don't have in play. And in this case, it's where it needs to be. So we'll put a, and it's supposed to sit just like that. If you do it wrong, or if you guys are reading online, this is where your Torrington bearings drop. This is what you're looking at. And then when you put it all together, everything gets crushed. I think I have one here. I do. I have one here. This one's out of an older engine, but look how it was sitting when the spacer went on top of it. And this kills your engine in about 100 miles. So that makes for a bad day. Especially when you're all excited and you're like, yes, it's all back in the car. It's running. Yay. On your RX-7s, this is directional. But 93 and newer, it doesn't matter. And before we forget, we need long spring goes in first. Your thermal pellet replacement goes in. You're putting in the original. It just goes in just like that. Nothing fancy.
I don't know if I'm in your way.
Oh, you're okay.
Just trying to get close-ups for everybody.
Okay, let's torque it at 80. I don't need a key in yet, sometimes. Bet Jason recognizes that screwdriver.
Hey Jason, do you recognize that screwdriver if you're still here?
Dad started that with, I think, back in the mid-80s. Was it a Mac? I can't tell anymore. It's either Mac or Snap-on, one of the two.
So Jason, if you're still here, answer. Do you recognize?
Yeah, it's either Mac or Snap-on. It's one of the two. Oh yeah, turn it over by hand. Nothing like getting it all finished and you're in trouble. I have in play. Now, let's see what the number is.
And then meat by product. Sorry about that, guys. I used to help strip Cord motors in Texas to send to you guys.
Oh, nice. every engine has in play. So we'll go to, for simplicity, we'll put it at 0. And what are the numbers? That's too much. It needs to be closer to 2. Like there. About there. So let's take it off. Grab another spacer. We had a letter D spacer in it to start with.
And then me by Rx also was also in cap with your son. Glad to see you guys are still doing good work.
That's silver. Civil Air Patrol is similar to ROTC for Army. I think I did that for about a year. Okay. I don't have enough grip. I don't have fingernails. So, we'll do it this way. Take the spacer out. We'll change it.
And the delivery Brian's back. And that's alright, Brian. If you missed anything, you can go back after the live and rewatch if you missed anything or want to see anything.
Yeah, the exciting part was compression numbers. For used rotor housings, new seals. There we go. That's over D to a C.
Alright, we got 24 people watching and 20 thumbs up.
There we go.
Whoa. Trying to zoom in a little bit so they can. So you can see what you're doing a little bit better. Alright, I'm gonna step away, go to the bathroom real quick.
Okay. Nope, just putting the in play all together. Don't forget these bolts. That's a bad day if one comes out. And it's deep enough in the engine you may not hear it. On these spacers, That's the one we had in there before, a letter D. You got a letter E and a letter C. Each one of these in your workshop manual, you have a code. This is just a code, but it breaks it down to how thick each one of these are. So we're going to go after letter C and see if that brings us closer to 2000 for in play. Since the D spacer was too much.
Well, if anybody wants to come steal a Chevy, they can come steal a Chevy.
Oh. Okay. Now, do we still have in play? Yes. But what's the number? You'd rather have too much than not enough.
Crap, I can't get the... I'm trying to get the number so we can...
That's better.
Jason must have jumped off.
That's okay. We'll have to tease him. We'll have to text him and tease him about it. You know, hey, we asked you a question. You disappeared. Well, it's at 3,000.
What do you want it at?
I want it closer to 2. I don't have another spacer. The other spacer's too thick. So, and that's
And then Pilot Hernandez, I hope I can buy rebuilt kit soon this year so I can rebuild my spare engine.
I've got plenty of kits. Every engine's different, so just depends on what you need per engine. You go live on that one, taking one apart. Those are two 12A shafts. I've got two different 12A's sitting here to go back together.
And then
What do you do when you don't have a spacer? That's the right thickness. We'll put it on a flat block.
and then TXG runner. Now Lee Zeldin is killing off emissions regs. Maybe Mazda can give us the true RX net without hybrid motor with overweight beyond 2 time bomb cat concept.
There's a problem with that. You have to, it's not just here in the States you got to worry about. You also have to worry about the European and California emissions. So, you think the EPA is bad on emissions? That's nothing. You have two other, at least at a minimum, two other boards or agencies you got to worry about.
Mitchell Meyer said, "What's this engine rebuilt for?" And it's for rx8.
Yep. 04 to 08, 6-port.
Then Killstone, do you sell a manual with all the torque specs?
Yeah. If you email me, I can send that. I can email that to you too. I think I have it down. I think I have a page on the website with all that too.
And then just a little streetcar. Just a little streetcar, or is it for specific project?
No, just a streetcar.
Are we closer to the number that you want?
A little bit. I got to sand it down more.
So when he gets it back out, we'll take you over there to where you can see how he does that.
Nothing fancy. Just a flat block. But on in play, some engines go together nice. Some others, it's you got to tinker with it and play with it. That one, I just grabbed spacers and plates and put it all together, and it went through just fine.
And Mitchell Meyer said, "I didn't know if you guys have seen my hybrid Genesis build, or are you guys familiar with that build? Have you ever considered putting together a seal kit package for a hybrid?"
For the hybrid stuff, you got to email me on it, and then I can work around that.
So we'll take you guys over here.
And I'm not the only builder that does this. There's other builders that do the same thing. We've been doing this off and on since the 90s, late 90s.
And then Killstone, I know you're a motor shop, but do you sell transmission parts too?
Yes. You got to do that on a flat block. Nothing like having that which way.
And Mitchell said, "Oh, I already bought seals last year. My car is running now."
Okay, I probably helped him put something together or whatever. And it's okay. But glad it's running.
and runner. That was weird. So TXG runner, this is great, but I'll have to return later to watch rest. Cheers.
Thanks for chiming in.
Not your way.
Nope. So we'll put that, we'll make that a 0. That's coming up to what? 3? There we go.
I don't know how well you guys can see that. Is that 40?
Well, let's go like this. If you put that at 40, that's only going up 2 thousandths. So no, that's not 42 thousandths. Make that a 0. There. For those that, here you go. There. We're done. We're set. There, just for those handfuls. OCD kicks in.
Is there any way to guess if you... I gotta get the phone so I don't have to keep touching the screen. Is there any way to guess if you need to go up or down on your end plate spacer to rebuild? I got lucky on mine after replacing on almost everything but one rotor. My original end plate spacer was perfect.
That part you don't know until you get to that. Until you get there.
Like before you actually get to measuring.
No. Well, I'm sure there's a way to do it. I don't know how. I've never done it.
Did you spray paint the block or powder coat it?
Spray paint. Well, pump's in good enough shape to go back another round. And I got a little pump bolt here. A little ATF. Everybody likes a little bit of alcohol and tobacco in their engines.
I prefer my tobacco on my lip.
Yeah, I guess it's a bad day when they show up, huh? Yeah, that's a bad day when they show up.
What, on who?
ATF.
Yeah, you might want to be hiding at that point.
I don't think there's anywhere to hide.
Oh, there's places to hide. You gotta get there before they find you.
Right. So when we take the engines apart, we don't take off this nut. We just leave it.
There's nothing wrong with being a little nutty.
Well, putting this all back together can be a challenge at times. Sometimes it goes like you're in play. Sometimes it just drops in and goes together, and you never got to look at it. Next thing you got to do is play with it a little. So we just leave it all together, and then there's no question that something moved or dropped or whatever. And now, those of you with RX7s and RX8s, here's one you gotta watch and be careful of. This one's RX8, and this one's an RX7. Don't put the wrong one in, because there's no, that's gonna mess you up. Your oil metering pump won't work. So careful on that one. On the RX8s, they turned the oil metering pump in a different direction. And then just like on your piston engines, you tighten down the oil pump in a star pattern. Turn the oil pump over as you go. And that way, if it doesn't seat right,
It'll bind.
it'll bind up. I've only had 2 ever do that. But if you undo it and then redo, like go in a different star pattern, then it's usually not a problem. I don't know about you guys, but I check my bolts just to be on the safe side. Don't need that phone call. That part's done. On your keys, same thing with the RX-7s. Your RX-8 keys are longer. So grab the correct key. Okay, in place done. That's done. On the front cover, we used the same gaskets here we did on the little front cover gasket. This is just to ensure that the gasket stays in place, doesn't move. And boy, does it like glue. This like definitely glues it all into place.
So is that next thing going on? Or well, other than the seal.
There's your front cover gasket. Just lays on there. I do it on both sides. then there's no chance of it.
So is it supposed to overlap like that?
Like here?
Yeah, and then out.
Yeah, because in this case, this is like your water pump spacers on your earlier cars.
Ah.
And you got your.
So how many spacers did you just put up? 2?
Yeah, one flat washer and then one lock washer. At least for this part of it. And it doesn't go anywhere. The rx8 bolts are slightly different. I'm using our old ones, but they'll work. Oh, we need flat washers. Yeah, rx8 bolts are slightly different.
Questions were coming in hot and heavy, and now 2 hours and almost 14 minutes. Questions.
Well, ask away.
So delivery, Brian. I should take auto shop in high school. I should have taken auto shop high school.
Oh, that was the best class I had.
I think I took auto shop in high.
That was the best class that I had. Didn't help my parents. The auto repair was 40 feet outside the back door. So I got to learn a lot. Front row seat. So you go watch old movies where you got the 7 or 8 or 10-year-old walking through the building, walking through the auto repair shop, just like cruising right on through. That was me.
Well, and also it's a lot different working on, cars like my truck or.
Oh, it didn't matter. We did all the Mazda line.
Well, in high school.
Oh, not in high school, but my parents did.
Yeah, because I think in high school you usually worked on stuff.
Whatever came in and broken. I had a friend of mine in high school. He was a year ahead of me. But in auto shop class, he wanted for his high school auto shop project. He rebuilt the old Briggs and Stratton engine and his dad had a spare turbo for the 79 Cobra Mustang and put it on.
On a friggin' Britain.
Yeah. Okay. That was fun to watch. I think that engine lived like a whole 5 minutes. But hey, he got a grade out of it, and he didn't care at that point.
That's a whole term of F around and find out.
Yeah. He had fun with that build. I had a couple friends with another one of his friends had an old like 70s Charger.
Brian was just said power SARs are more noisy. That depends.
You run this and open header, and that saw is quiet.
Well, heck, a lot of vehicles are quiet compared to my 661 or. So I think Brian's got the bark box on his, right?
I think so. I think he's got it on there by now. Okay, I don't know where this other O-ring is at.
And then Killstone in our high school, we rebuilt a Dodge Viper engine. Was it the V10 or the V12?
Ooh, I don't think that'd matter. That'd be fun.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm just saying because they have two different. As far as I know, they only have two motors. The V10, because that Vipers came with either the V10 or the V12.
Yeah. Okay. I'm short one O-ring. So when you open this kit up, I only brought this kit over here for an example. But everything's numbered. Everything's labeled. And I did not grab on Friday the front hub bolt O-ring. So
You don't. But the thing is you also don't see very many Dodge Vipers around anymore.
no, those are collector cars. There's they only made those what? 5 years, 6 years.
I don't know. I've only probably seen maybe a handful of Dodge Vipers.
Same here. But God, are they gorgeous cars to look at. Okay. Mazda does not have a crush washer after 93 on the front hub bolt. So what we do is a little silicone,
Ooh, a little Loctite, eh?
little Loctite. Just make sure that this ain't gonna move. And when I torque this all down, I want just enough silicone
The squeeze out.
to squeeze out that you can see it between the hub, the bolt and the hub. And that's not going to leak.
Alright, so are we torquing this down to?
80 foot-pounds. And just like we did before, check your in play. Since we know the numbers there and set, I can wiggle that and move it now, and I know I got movement. Engine number 3 of 25 is done.
So you guys got any more questions? You guys want to ask, answer, whatever? Ask them now.
Yeah, what do you want to know? Should we do this again? I'm down for that.
And then in high school, I had a 74 Ford Courier.
God, those used to be everywhere.
Courier made by Mazda, but it had the 4-cylinder piston motor in it. It was a great truck. Heck, I can't remember the last time I seen a Ford Courier van or truck.
There's not very many around, but they're still around.
Oh, of course. Now after we ask a question, Jason shows up. Andrew asks, what's the highest mileage 13B 6-port you have seen and contributing factor to longevity?
Fresh oil, maintenance, and that engine died about 130,000.
And then Cliff Gonzalez, great video. Thanks, Dan. And Jason says, looks good, Dan. Good job, Brennan, on the video and reading the comments. Well, if you would have been here a little bit longer, Jason, you would have seen me actually in there helping.
We did ask you a question, though, Jason.
So if you're still here, Jason, does this look familiar? And then outdoors was Shibe. When's the dyno testing?
For this engine, there isn't going to be one. Unless the customer does it.
And then Andrew, Matt, I missed this one till the end. Even had notifications on and didn't alert. Definitely do more, and that's coming from Andrew.
Okay, we have a different design in numbering system now.
And then what is Dan tapping in now?
Serial number.
So Jason, does this literally not look familiar?
You've known us long enough. I'm stamping in the serial number for this engine. And here is the twist.
Oh, you're actually doing it?
Yep. Okay, how this number system works. Okay,
let me go get the camera. Here, I'll switch you so you can read the comments and I'll show.
Jason says not sure.
Of course. Well, I'm pretty sure they don't want to see my ugly mug.
Okay, here's how this numbering system works. That's the month. That's engine number for the year. So this will be engine number 3 in 24. Atkins Rotary Specialties, YouTube 1. So the next one we do on YouTube, it'll be YT2, and so on and so
forth.
But
and it's on both. And it's on both sides.
It's on both. So since this one got all put together on YouTube, down to rotors, bring it right on. It's neat too, because on those numbers, somebody will call me back and like,
so
they'll buy the car later or whatever, and
it says this looks like a flathead screwdriver. It is supposed to be something else. Well, I'm pretty sure when you were here helping, you probably used that a handful of times, and then.
Well, Dad bought that screwdriver back in, I don't know, mid-'80s. So how many engines has that screwdriver put together?
So look at BGW's Enterprises comment.
Okay.
It's taking a machine saw top end with.
Not on the rotary cars. I can do porting, make it a little faster.
And then, did you see
how many miles should one expect for this engine? Had a Richard Tate. You should get at least 100, 110 out of this one before it's done.
and then I think outside.
It just depends on how, it's beaten.
So we got two outside with stripes that coming 2025, or it's 2025, and then
Okay.
Dan Sawfish also said it's 2025 now.
I can fix that.
And then Dan Sawfish, are you going to start it, or is there going to be another live next week?
I don't plan on doing it live next week. There we go.
And then Andrew asked how much of the engine was able to be reused. Sorry, something I would have known if I got the live earlier.
On this one, it was the rotor housings, all 3 plates, your front cover, pretty much all of it. Because your rotors were fine, the shaft was fine. This just was one we found in a wrecked car and tore it apart, cleaned it up, and then put it all back together. The bearings were trash, so we changed the bearings. You don't need to change bearings on rotary cars all the time, but yeah, basically just a seal kit and put it back together. What else? Yeah, some engines you can get away with that. If apex seals break, it's like dropping glass down its throat. And yeah, what do you have left? That rotor's going to be shot. That rotor housing is going to be trash. And then 1 or 2 of the plates on the rx8s because it's got to go around instead of straight out.
And Jason, I get it now. It's old.
Okay. So, engine number 1 for YouTube is done.
All right. Are we calling it, or?
Yeah.
All right. Well, next time, I'm pretty sure next time that Dan goes live on anything on YouTube, whether it's on this channel or on
Yours.
On mine.
Yeah.
What, you don't want to be live on yours?
Oh, well, you do more live than I do. Thank you for showing up and helping.
And also thanks to everybody that showed up and commented and asked questions. But next time that we go live, or Dan decides to go live and needs help, we will be back.
Thank you, Emily, for letting me have him for a few hours.
Alright, see you guys
on the next one.
Alright, well, before we go, how do you know if bearings need to be replaced? Great video and great live. You guys, thanks.
I do have a video on bearings. It's about a year and a half old. It is a little long, but I go into detail on that one. I can probably do a one shorter, but check out the channel and look over bearings. Yeah. I know enough on these engines that I could probably bore somebody to death with it. So, hence the whole reason I'm going live.
So we will chat at you guys later. Thanks for stopping in, watching, liking, subscribing, all that good stuff.
If you have questions, send me an email. Thanks, guys. You got one.